Probability of surviving a plane crash? 1 in 11 million. Probability of surviving the brain-eating amoeba? 4 out of 160. Guess which one lives in the lake where you spend your vacation? Are you afraid of artificial intelligence? Wrong target. While you worry about robots replacing you, nature has already programmed your obsolescence. With bugs, even the worst developers wouldn't dare to code. The difference is, these system crashes are permanent. Here are 10 proofs the apocalypse has already begun, and we're just the unwilling beta testers. The brain-eating amoeba. Summer, a lake, a refreshing dive. Sounds like the start of the mineral water commercial, right? Instead, it could be the last trailer of your life. Because in warm, stagnant waters lives Naegleria fowleri, the brain-eating amoeba. Swallowing it isn't the problem, but if it enters through your nose, the nightmare begins. It travels up the olfactory nerve and reaches your brain in 24 to 72 hours. Once inside, it doesn't hide. It starts devouring brain tissue like a microscopic Pac-Man. First symptoms seem harmless: headache, nausea, fever. Then come seizures, hallucinations, loss of consciousness. The brain inflames, swells, and the patient slips into death in less than a week. Since 1962 in the US, 160 cases. Survivors, only 4. You're more likely to survive a plane crash than this. Probability of infection, 1 in 70 million. Rare? Yes. But would you still dive knowing it's there? And the creepy part? It doesn't need to kill to survive. It doesn't see you as an enemy, not even as prey. It simply does what it knows how to do: feed. And we're just the wrong item on the menu in the restaurant of death. Reviews? 0 stars on TripAdvisor. Reason? No one ever came back to write one. The parasite that reprograms you. Ever made a stupid decision and then said, "That wasn't me"? Maybe you were right. A protozoan, Toxoplasma gondii, is often caught from cats or undercooked meat. Once inside your body, it can form cysts in your brain and stay there forever. Some studies link it to more impulsivity, higher risk-taking, even more car accidents. In mice, something brilliant and cruel happens. They lose their fear of cat odor. They become bolder, then dumber, then easier to eat. Mission accomplished. And in humans, research from places like Charles University in Prague shows intriguing correlations. Men more prone to breaking rules, women more trusting and social, all more likely to underestimate danger. Translation: I'm quitting my job and moving to Australia. I'll get a tattoo tomorrow morning. I'm investing in that crypto. What could possibly go wrong? The fun part? 1 in 3 of you watching probably already has it. The creepy part? Maybe it's the parasite that made you click this video. Plot twist, it's not you watching YouTube, it's the parasite doing its research.
The brain that self-destructs. Prions and Kuru. Prions aren't viruses, they're not bacteria, they're proteins from your own body that suddenly start folding the wrong way. And like all bad things, they replicate. Result, the brain fills with holes like a sponge. Fatal familial insomnia? You die after 18 months without sleep. The world record for voluntary wakefulness is 11 days. These patients hit 500. But the Oscar for horror goes to Kuru in Papua New Guinea. In the 1950s, the Foray tribe practiced ritual cannibalism. Eating the dead was an act of love, not cruelty. The problem? Eating brains transmitted prions. Victims began trembling, losing coordination, laughing hysterically in their final phase before death. That's why it was called the laughing disease. Kuru disappeared when cannibalism was abandoned, but prions stayed with us. They're the same behind mad cow disease, and they don't stop with heat, cold, or bleach. They survive 600 degrees Celsius. And what if your last laugh was the one you never wanted to make?
The worm in the brain, not a metaphor. Australia, August 2023, Canberra Hospital. A 64-year-old woman is admitted for depression and memory loss. The MRI shows an anomaly. Neurosurgeons open her skull and find an 8-centimeter red worm writhing in her right frontal lobe. Alive, well, hungry. It was Ophidoscarus roberti, a python parasite. First human case in history. How did it get there? Likely from collecting wild herbs contaminated with snake feces. Her brain had become a studio apartment with a squatter who didn't pay rent. For 4 months, she lived with a roommate that ate her memories. The woman survived, the worm is in a jar of formalin, but the question remains: how many other first cases are out there waiting? Nature doesn't need to invent Alien, nor waste millions on lousy sequels. But here's the scary part. What if the monster is already inside you?
The walking corpse syndrome. Ever said, "I feel dead inside"?
For people with Cotard syndrome, it's a medical diagnosis. Case in Belgium, 2012. A man shows up at the ER convinced he had been dead for weeks. He asked doctors to return him to the morgue where he belonged. He refused food. Corpses don't eat. He refused to wash. Why bother? I'm already decomposing. 86% of patients believe they don't exist or have lost vital organs. 69% deny their own existence. 55% claim immortality, because if you're already dead, you can't die again. Brain PET scans show activity similar to vegetative coma, in people wide awake. It's as if the brain decided to rehearse death, with you still inside. It's not depression. It's your operating system going full zombie mode. Control-Alt-Delete won't work.
The brain that doesn't recognize love. Imagine, your wife walks into the room. You look at her and think, who the hell are you? The face is identical, the voice too, but you know she's an imposter. That's Capgras syndrome. The brain recognizes the face, but the amygdala, the emotional hub, doesn't light up. Result? Recognition without connection. Real case, USA 2018. A man called the police 37 times in 1 month, claiming someone had replaced his wife with a clone. He installed 14 cameras at home to catch the swap. He even filed for divorce, not from his wife, but from the imposter. In France, 2020, a patient was convinced there were 7 versions of his daughter. He numbered them. The real one was number 3. The others were government replacements. It's not paranoia. It's your brain losing Wi-Fi with your heart. And without that password, you stay offline. Forever.
The zombie viruses of permafrost. Global warming doesn't just melt ice. It melts apocalypse coffins. 2014, Siberia. Scientists revive Pithovirus sibericum, frozen for 30,000 years. 2022, new record with Pandoravirus Yedoma. 48,500 years old. Still infectious, still hungry. But the real horror trailer was 2016 Yamal Peninsula. Record heat wave. Permafrost melts. A reindeer carcass emerges, dead of anthrax 75 years earlier. Result? 1 child dead, 90 hospitalized, 2,300 reindeer slaughtered. Virologist Jean-Michel Claverie warns, permafrost holds everything. Smallpox, plague, anthrax. It's a freezer full of surprises from the Pleistocene. Bonus science. Nematodes 46,000 years old found in permafrost. Thawed, came back to life, reproduced. The past isn't dead. It's frozen. And every summer is 1 degree closer to waking it up.
The stone baby. The human body is creative, sometimes in ways even Cronenberg would envy.
When a fetus dies after the 3rd month and the body can't expel it, Plan B kicks in. Mummification and calcification. Result? Lithopedion, from Greek stone baby. Record case, Zara Abu Talib, Morocco, 1955. Ectopic pregnancy, fetus dies. She can't afford surgery. In 2002, she discovers she carried the calcified fetus for 46 years. Huang Yijun, China, 92 years old, 65 of them with a lithopedion in her abdomen. When it was removed in 2009, it weighed 2 kilos, a perfectly preserved fetal statue. 330 cases documented in medical history. The oldest? A Peruvian mummy from 1300 AD. Its grief turned literally into stone, a secret tomb some women carry their whole lives without ever knowing. Now you know, not all graves are in the ground. Some walk among us.
The brain's final cinema. Your life flashing before your eyes isn't just poetry, it's neuroscience. February 2022, Vancouver. An 87-year-old man dies during an EEG. For the first time in history, we record what the brain does as it dies. 30 seconds before cardiac arrest, gamma waves spike 300%. The same linked to lucid dreams, deep meditation, memory recall. Dr. Ajmal Zemmer, neurosurgeon at the University of Louisville. The brain may really replay the most meaningful memories in its last moments. Study on rats, 2013. Same pattern, even stronger. Some brains showed more gamma activity than wakefulness for 30 seconds after the heart stopped. Plot twist? Patients revived after cardiac arrest often report reliving moments of their lives, not chronologically, but by emotional weight. It's the final montage by the most important director, yourself. No remake, no sequel, just the credits rolling. The shadow that watches you sleep. You wake up, 3:33 a.m., because it's always that time, right? You're conscious but completely paralyzed. A weight on your chest. You can't breathe. And then you see it. The black shadow at the end of your bed. Sleep paralysis. 40% of people experience it once, 7.6% regularly. Science says it's just the conscious mind trapped in a body still in REM mode. Sure. Explain this. The old hag, medieval Europe, witch on the chest. Pinyin, China, ghost pressing the body. Pisadera, Brazil, dirty-footed woman stomping the sleeper. The Hat Man, modern USA, figure with wide-brimmed hat. Different cultures, different centuries, the same shadow. University of Waterloo, 2018. 50% see evil presences, 30% hear voices, 20% feel levitation or out-of-body sensations. Rational explanation? Hypnagogic hallucinations. Creepy explanation? 8 billion people seeing the same shadows. Maybe it's the biggest coincidence in history, or maybe it's not a hallucination. Maybe tonight at 3:33, it'll be your turn to find out. Sweet dreams.
Here are 10 proofs that AI is the least of our problems. Nature, our bodies, and our brains have already programmed the apocalypse, and the bug fix isn't coming. The difference between Black Mirror and reality? Black Mirror has a happy ending. So tell me in the comments, which of these truths ruined your sleep? And if you think you're strong enough for more doses of reality, subscribe. The next video might be about the 10 things your body is doing right now without you knowing. Spoiler, one of them involves mites having sex on your face while you sleep, but that's another story. And remember, the next time you look in the mirror, you're never truly alone.